Yes, we are back. This is our next video in our series, Don't Waste a Good Relationship Status. You watched the first one. Now we're going on to the next one. We just want to share some principles about dating.
Yes.
And courtship.
Now,
What's one, what's the other?
So there's a difference in how an unbeliever and a believer approach dating.
Well, there should be. I wish I could say in practice, no. Believers, Christians, those of us who are born again sons of God, in many instances, most, approach dating, relationships, pretty much like the world, with the same mindset as the world. But I do believe there should be a difference between how a believer conducts himself in a relationship, how we pursue relationship, what mindset we come into relationship with. And I believe there should be a difference between dating and courtship.
So what is the difference between dating and courtship?
Well, when I say there should be a difference between dating and courtship, there should be a difference between how we practice dating versus how the world does it. I believe in courtship. Dating is when you, pretty much the old adage which I heard a long time, because having never been married before and only got married at age 53, I always heard, Stephanus, if you don't date, how will you meet your wife? You got to date, you got to meet women, you got to be out there. If you don't put yourself out there and you don't allow people to introduce you to somebody, how will you meet somebody? Well, here's the thing about dating. Dating is a relationship where you really enter into the relationship and you start pursuing a romantic relationship with someone you have no commitment with. You're not married, you're not engaged, there's no intention to be married, it's merely we're dating. So now you're entering, and then boundaries disappear because we become emotionally involved, we start sharing things, and then if something goes wrong, you break up.
And you get hurt.
And you take that hurt and that experience into the next dating relationship, because they say that when you fall off a horse, best thing to do is get right back on. They use that with dating. And then you get right in there, because now don't get bitter, don't get cynical. Just, there are many fishes out there. Just get back into it, and then you're back into the next dating relationship, which then becomes also a physical relationship after a while, because we are physical people. We have physical desires. And if you're not careful, that becomes a physical relationship. The bond gets stronger and then follows breakup again. So dating really prepares you for divorce.
Yeah.
That's why people, when they enter into marriage, they come into marriage with a mindset of, things go wrong, I leave. But now there are far different consequences than with just a dating relationship. Courtship, on the other hand, is when I come and I say, look, I pray about it, I see a girl, I see a woman I think I want to get to know. Then I pray about it, I think about it, I watch her, and I feel, is this somebody I'd like to get to know? If I decide, well, it is, then I approach her and I say, look, I really like you. I would like to get to know you better with the intention of pursuing a relationship and getting married. So I state my intention up front. I make my commitment clear. I'm not here to just date and have fun. And here to kiss and cuddle and things like that and form an emotional bond, and if something goes wrong. I'm here with the intention. I would like to get to know you better, to see if we like one another and there is a possibility for us to enter into a relationship for marriage, because I intend marriage. So I want to get to know you better to see if that will work. And then from there. But you have a very interesting story on that, about how your son and his wife approached their relationship and what happened with them. They did courting.
Yes. I just want to mention something else about courting and dating. Now, I Googled this.
Oh, you did? No, come on.
Or would you prefer me saying I did some research?
I would like you. I think research is far better.
But anyway, With courting is I'm looking for marriage.
Yes.
And with dating it's let's figure this out as we go.
Yeah, let's just enjoy.
Yeah, that's
have
the
fun.
dangerous ground to move on. And then with courting, families get involved.
Yes.
And with dating, they might get involved, but not necessarily.
There's immediate exclusivity
Yes.
together.
Yeah. And then the other thing is when I'm courting, it's an agreement on a serious commitment. And with dating, it's just see where this goes. Where is this relationship going?
Yeah.
Okay, and then
there's no definitive outcome defined.
Yes.
There's no definitive movement to. We're just taking this as it goes, and we'll see. And yeah, maybe not.
And then another one is focused on love, not lust. That's during courting. You focus on love and not lust. And dating is focused on love, but it may involve lust if you are a non-believer.
Yes.
Okay. And then courting ends up in marriage, and dating may not end up in marriage.
Yes.
And that's the difference.
And seldom do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
share the story. We're waiting for the story. How did your son and his wife approach it? They did courtship. What did they do? How did they have a beautiful story.
Yes, I first want to take this opportunity to just honor Gideon and Roelize, my son and his wife. For we actually invited them on a Zoom to record doing an interview with them, but unfortunately they are very busy, him being in full-time ministry as well.
And load-shedding schedules, it's just very difficult to coordinate.
Yes, so I really want to honor them and thanking them for trusting us with their story. So Roelize sent me this beautiful voice message explaining how the time frame and everything worked. So when they started out in their relationship, Gideon invited her for coffee, or they met on an outreach. They met on an outreach, church outreach.
And he checked her out.
Yes, he saw her. And when he first invited her out on for a coffee, she refused. And then the second time, he immediately made it clear that, listen, I'm here, I'm in this, I think you have potential, marriage is the goal. So then immediately she knew what his intentions were.
Yeah, let's get to know one another and see if that is a possibility.
Yes. So then in the first month, they really took the time to get to know each other. So they did what they called active dating. So by active dating is they didn't focus on each other and seeing each other every day.
Yeah, being alone all the time.
Yes, they saw each other twice or 3 times a week. But when they say 3 times a week, one appointment would be spending times or inviting or get to know each other's friends. So
in a group.
It was in a group.
Yes.
Another night they will, or an appointment, they will do something together, like they'll do jogging, playing squash.
An activity together. So they're constructively engaged. They're not sitting home alone.
Yes.
They're not alone in a space. They're actively pursuing an activity together.
Yes.
Jogging, whatever they like and whatever they feel they can do together.
Yes. And then the third appointment, they would spend time alone, but also doing something, like sitting, enjoying an ice cream, but talking, getting to know each other. Yes, on a, can we say, a soul level, because you have to know someone's soul.
Yeah, getting to know the person's character, their history, getting to understand how they think and feel, how their makeup is, what makes them tick.
Yes. So I remember when I met them for coffee at some stage, and afterwards when I left, I was in tears because of what I experienced, the holiness, the beauty, the pureness of the relationship, and that really touched my heart.
But how long did they continue this active dating before it went? Obviously, it's got to go to the next level now.
Yes. Okay, so now after 1 month, Gideon first asked her parents if he can go into a relationship with Roelize.
That's now when they determined that there is something.
Yes.
So it took only a month.
Yes.
They didn't continue dating for 2 years to find out.
Yes.
You can know within a month of active dating 3 times a week.
Yes.
They knew, is there a possibility here? They agreed there is.
Yes.
He approached her parents.
Yes. And they also had a discussion about this. Gideon made it quite clear that he doesn't want to date for 3 or more years, and then where does this go?
Yeah.
Because then you're wasting each other's time.
And listen to me, she's not a minor at school.
No.
So he has to speak to the parents. There was no need. She could have gone on without their permission. She is of majority age.
Yes.
So she could make the decision herself. But he honored her parents.
Yes.
And he
good.
honored the fact that she's in her father's house still.
Yeah. So then, after a month, he first asked her parents if he could go into a relationship with her. And then they started, then they were in a relationship. After first the parents, and then obviously he asked
Now
her.
they're a couple. So now they were going as a couple. Still with a firm intention of getting married.
Yes.
But there were some ground rules in this.
Yes, they didn't, they were not in a physical relationship. They didn't kiss, they didn't touch, they didn't
hug, hold one another, kept proximity. You know, they had a strict boundary.
Yeah.
Because remember, they want to get married. They don't want to mess this up.
They were courting for 2 years. Before, then again, Gideon first went to her parents and asked them to get engaged.
He asked for her hand in marriage.
Yes, before they started looking for a ring.
Again, honor. Makes her feel safe. You make yourself accountable.
Yes.
When he approached her parents first instance, he approached her first instance. He made himself accountable as to his intentions. So he can now be measured by it. By the boundaries they put in place, they were both accountable.
Yes.
Then when he went to her parents, he made himself accountable to her parents. That helps when you're tempted. And now in the time that you're now a couple, you spend some time alone, but you keep your proximity and your physical proximity at a distance. You do not engage in physical intimacy.
Yes.
Because they wanted to enter marriage pure. And they didn't want to, you see, when there's physical interaction and there's physical kissing, petting, hugging, holding on to another, there's hormones, there's temptation, there's issues. Emotions become involved. They eliminated that and they kept it because they made themselves accountable.
Yes.
Then after 2 years when he decided, and they both decided, she wants to marry him. He approached her parents and again made himself accountable by asking for her hand.
I remember at some stage he mentioned something about that he made an appointment with her parents again. Now I can't remember if it was only with his dad or with both parents.
You mean her dad?
Yes, her dad. Asking them, are they still happy about the relationship? Is there anything that I'm concerned about?
Yes.
Again, measuring.
Sure.
Measuring.
So full accountability.
Yes.
That's before he asked for a hand in marriage. He checked whether they were happy with the relationship as it was progressing.
Yes. And then they were engaged for 6 months before they got married. Something else Roelize also mentioned is when they were still courting, they were not getting too emotionally involved with each other, meaning they didn't do Bible study
together. There's no
together.
firm commitment yet.
Yes. Bible study together, not relying on each other emotionally, still having conversations and going to their separate cell groups, visiting their separate friends, asking, do you see any red flags? Is there something that you think we need to know? So they always kept it in the light.
And they still kept kind of active dating. They still kept that up, that principle of doing activities together, not spending alone time all the time, still being in groups, friends, still maintained their relationships, stayed involved in their activities.
Now, in this time, they worked through 2 books that I really want to recommend. Now, the first book is The Sacred Search. What if it's not about who you marry, But Why? By Gary Thomas.
Yes. Mm.
Now, that book is about the compatibility. Can you do life with this person and everything about compatibility?
Got to ask yourself that question. Can I live with this person
Yes.
for the rest of my life?
And the second book is Boundaries in Dating, How Healthy Choices Grow Healthy Relationships by Dr. Henry Cloud and John Townsend.
And they worked through these together.
Yes,
While
I think she said the second book she worked through.
Yeah.
Because remember, in when you are courting as well, you don't know if this person you are now in a relationship with, if you are not where you want to get engaged, you're not sure, you're still getting to know this person, you don't know if you are going to get married to this person.
That's the thing.
Yet.
You don't know, so you don't pursue anything that will that will lead there, mess it up.
Yes.
You know, that will kind of go where it's not supposed to go. Your boundaries are strict.
Correct. Because even the day before marriage, the relationship can break up. Yes, you can decide a day before marriage.
So even while they were engaged, they still did not engage in physical hugging, kissing, holding, touching. You know, there were still firm boundaries.
Yes, there were still boundaries, yes. But what else? Oh, and then, yes. When because when in courtship, when you are courting, you don't know if maybe this is someone else's husband or this is someone else's wife.
Yeah.
And so the relationship must always be healthy.
Must be pure.
Yeah. So when you say, no, I'm not going to marry this person, then at least you can take the good from this relationship.
Yes.
You learn something from it. Maybe there was some character building. And let's say you marry someone else and in 5 years' time you bump into this person, then you're not ashamed.
Yeah. You need to be honorable in this. Once you know it's time to go. You don't, but maybe I can, keep going, maybe this comes up. No. Once you know, no, this is not going to work out. You should talk. Ask her, listen, I don't think this is going to work out. How do you see it?
Yes.
What do you think? And of course, it may be a little bit emotional, but the breakup, if it is clean. There's no emotional baggage. Yeah. There's nothing to regret and feel, I should not have done that. You know, now I did. There's a purity in it. Yes. It's a clean break. And both can proceed with a clear conscience before the Lord and each other.
Yes, I don't think many couples realize that when you become one, it's not only a physical oneness. You become one soulish as well.
Yes.
You
emotional
become
oneness.
Yes. In spirit.
Yes.
And that's why it's so important to have boundaries before marriage.
One. See? You become one. It's intertwined.
Yes. And then something else Release also mentioned that in the Bible, there's only single, you can either be single or married. There's nothing in between. And to keep that in mind.
Yes. Only single or married. You cannot, there's no dating there. There's courting. And now you'll say, it's old-fashioned, it's Old Testament. We live in the 21st century. Well, look at the results of dating. Look at the results of how we pursue. Look at the divorce rate. Look at how fragmented society is. Look at how broken down. Look at the fact that most families have a single parent. A lot of mothers raising single kids. A parentless, fatherless fatherless generation.
Yes.
That's the result. As believers, as sons of God, we need to approach things differently. Let's fix this. We have to fix it from the ground up. You're not going to fix divorce up there. You fix it here when we start engaging in healthy relationships, pursuing things in a godly manner that will produce healthy, godly results. It's not a recipe for no issues. I'm sure they had some fights and disagreements. I'm sure they still do. They've been married now for 2 years?
3 years.
3 already?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Oh, they were married in 2023. They were married 2020. Yes. Yo, your oldest son is already married for 4.
That's correct.
Yo,
yes.
you know, yes, time flies. I didn't know it was 3 already. I thought 2. Yeah, 3 years already.
Yeah.
And it's not a recipe for no obstacles, no it's just a recipe. You give yourself a chance, a tremendous chance.
Yes.
You make it so much easier to make it.
Yes.
Because then when you get married, it's new. It's awesome. It's one. Imagine the wedding night.
Yes. And you have a good foundation.
You have a good foundation. I mean, how you can proceed that you know that you belong to one another. You've already proven your loyalty, your fidelity to one another.
Yes. And through that, trust is built. Now, you got married at what age?
53.
53.
First time.
So,
yes.
I just want to know. First, I wanted to say thank you.
Oh,
Thank you for waiting.
it's good.
It shows.
I'm glad.
It shows, and it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference.
So in the next video, I will share with men, and women can learn from it as well, just some principles. How did I successfully navigate being single? And it's not break up and dating and break up and failed relationships and almost got married here. And I did not have this. Look, I did not have this one true love, disappointment that I decided that's it for the rest of my life. Nothing like that. It makes good movies, those, and good books. And there may be some story, but that's not my story. So I would just like to share that so I can help you in just some boundaries and some principles in how to do that.
That will be good.
Because it will be good, especially for our younger men. You don't have to be age 53 to get married. There's reasons why it took this long, I know. Reasons that I will share with you in the video. But overall, I can say I am glad that at age 53, I got married, having never had sexual intercourse with another woman. And then, that's the next video. In our series, don't waste a good relationship status.
Until next time.
Shalom.